Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. We are currently going through the book of 2 Samuel, chapter by chapter. Today we will be covering chapter 3, which I will be reading from the NLT version, which is the New Living Translation version. So please listen to the end because I'll be sharing my key lessons at the end of the reading. Also remember to subscribe, to share, and to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any chapters. Let's do this. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Remember in the last chapter there was some, civil war happening. The people who were in support of David and the people who were in support of Saul, they were having, a fight, some fights in there. Someone got killed. It was all fun and games until people started getting killed. All right, so let's read. This is chapter 3. It says, this was the beginning of a long war between those who are loyal to Saul and those that were loyal to David. As time passed, David became stronger and stronger, while Saul's dynasty became weaker and weaker. These were the sons that were born to David in Hebron. The oldest was Ammon, whose mother was Ahinoam. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. The sixth was Ithream, whose mother was Eglah, David's wife. These sons were all born to David in Hebron. So you guys, I hope you notice that these are 6 sons that have been born to David, but all of them have different mothers. That means by this time, David and Michal were at least 6 wives at this specific time. All right, are we together up to that point? Haya, tuendelee. As the war between the house of Saul and the house of David went on, Abner became a powerful leader among those that were loyal to Saul. One day, Ish-bosheth, that name is impossible for me. Ish-bosheth, Saul's son, accused Abner of sleeping with one of his father's concubines, a woman named Rizpah, daughter of Aiah. Abner was furious. Am I some Judean dog to be kicked around like this? He shouted. After all I have done for your father Saul and his family and friends by not handing you over to David is this my reward? That you find fault with me about this woman? May God strike me and even kill me if I don't do anything I can to help David get what the Lord had promised him. I am going to take Saul's kingdom and give it to David. I will establish the throne of David over Israel as well as Judah, all the way from Dan in the north and Beersheba in the south. Ish-bosheth didn't dare say another word because he was afraid of what Abner might do. So these guys have some sort of fracas, and Abner has jumped ship and is just like, wait, I'm going to go now and just give David this kingdom. Then Abner sent a messenger to David saying, doesn't the entire land belong to you? Make a solemn pact with me and I will help you turn over all Israel to you. All right, David replied, but I will not negotiate with you unless you bring back my wife Michal, Saul's daughter, when you come. You guys remember that David's first wife was Michal, and she was a daughter of Saul. And then when they started their wrangles, this guy Saul went and married off the daughter to someone else. So alinyanganya David bibi. But David now has 6 wives, and he's like, no, me I still want my first wife. Bring her back. All right. So Ish-bosheth took Michal away from her husband Palti. Sound kama Palti, kama Kamuhindi. Palti, son of Laish. Palti followed along behind her as far as Behurim, weeping as he went. Then Abner told him, go back home. So Palti returned. Oh yeah, Palti is just over there crying and following the wife. Oh yeah, that looks very sad. Meanwhile, Abner had consulted with the elders of Israel. For some time now, he told them, you have wanted to make David your king. Now this is the time. For the Lord has said, I have chosen David to save my people Israel from the hands of the Philistines and from all their enemies. Abner also spoke with the men of Benjamin. Then he went to Hebron to tell David that all the people of Israel and Benjamin had agreed to support him. When Abner and 20 of his men came to Hebron, David entertained them with a great feast. Then Abner said to David, let me go and call an assembly of all the Israel to support my Lord, the Lord my king. They will make a covenant with you and make you their king, and you will rule over everything your heart desires. So David sent Abner safely on his way. But just after David had sent Abner away in safety, Joab and some of David's troops returned from a raid, bringing much plunder with them. When Joab arrived, he was told that Abner had just been there visiting the king and been sent away in safety. You guys remember Joab? Joab is the brother of Abisai and the brother of Asahel. Asahel was killed by Abner. Sasa Joab amerudi kutoka kwa raid, amerealize Abner alikuwa huko na amekuwa released in safety. Joab is not having it. He is not having it. So Joab rushed to the king and demanded, what have you done? Why do you mean by letting Abner get away? You know perfectly well that he came to spy on you and find out everything you're doing. Joab then left David and sent messengers to catch up with Abner, asking him to return. They found him at the well of Sila and brought him back, though David knew nothing about it. When Abner arrived back at Hebron, Joab took him aside at the gateway, as if to speak to him privately. But then he stabbed Abner in the stomach and killed him in revenge for killing his brother Asahel. You guys remember Asahel? So Joab amekuja, akatuma na Abner amerudi. Abner vile amerudi, amedungwa kisu ya tumbo. Alright, tuko pamoja mpaka hapo? Alright, verse 28. When David heard about it, he declared, I vow by the Lord that I and my kingdom are forever innocent of this crime against Abner, son of Ner. Joab and his family are the guilty ones. May the family of Joab be cursed in every generation with a man who has open soul or leprosy, or who walks on crutches, or dies by the sword, or begs for food. Oh my goodness, this is such a serious curse. Yani every generation will either have someone who has open sores or leprosy, someone who walks on crutches, someone who dies by the sword, someone who begs for. That's a serious curse, my goodness. So Joab and his brother Abisai killed Abner because Abner had killed their brother Asahel at the battle of Gideon. Then David said to Joab and all those who were with him, tear your clothes and put on burlap, mourn for Abner. And the king David himself walked behind the procession to the grave. They buried Abner in Hebron, and the king and all the people wept at his graveside. Then the king sang the funeral song to Abner. Should Abner have died as fools die? Your hands were not bound, your feet were not chained. No, you were murdered, the victim of a wicked plot. All the people wept again for Abner. David had refused to eat anything on the day of the funeral, and now everyone begged him to eat. But David had made a vow saying, may God strike me and even kill me if I eat anything before sundown. This pleased the people very much. In fact, everything the king did pleased them. So everyone in Judah and Israel understood that David was not responsible for Abner's death. Then King David said to his officials, don't you realize that a great commander has fallen today in Israel? And even though I am the anointed king, those two sons of Zeruiah, Joab and Abishai, are too strong for me to control. So may the Lord repay this evil for their evil deeds. Wow. That's the end of the chapter, guys. So the main occurrence of this chapter is that Abner has argued with Ish-bosheth over Saul's concubine. Abner has shifted his allegiances and offered support to David. David has taken the opportunity to ask for his first wife back, and he has gotten her back. Joab has killed Abner in revenge for his brother's murder, and David has led his people in mourning the death of Abner. One of the things that stands out for me is how God will use the very people who opposed you and make them support you. Abner was opposed to the thought of David being king of all of Israel. So much so that he declared Ish-bosheth king. Abner knew God's plan, but he resisted it. But not for long. God still used him to set in motion the unifying of Israel and Judah. By the time he died, he had talked to the elders of Israel, he had talked to the men of Benjamin, and he had managed to get them to support David as king of the whole of Israel. In the end, those that opposed God's plan supported, for God is unstoppable, and so are his plans. God will not be stopped by David's imperfection. The fact that he has many wives and concubines, that won't even stop him. God will not be stopped by the fact that people are rebelling against his plan. The fact that there is all these, Abner and his troop now, they are rebelling. The people who are supporting Saul and Ish-bosheth. God will not be stopped by that. And God will not be stopped by the ugliness of humanity. Like now, there's death, there's revenging of death, as in there's just ugliness of humanity, but that will not stop God. God is unstoppable, and so are his plans. God is unstoppable, and so are his plans. This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.